in 1979. So I was just doing nothing but listening to ELP, and my sisters all came to the rescue and said, Mark, you got to start listening to other kinds of music. So they started giving me like albums and stuff. But 1979, I did buy a couple albums with my newspaper money. So that was like the first year I would buy my own album. But I just did a search today of albums that came out in 1979. I don't want to bore you, but
Wait, Mark,
load of albums.
Mark, you're not boring me because you have to understand, depending on the month, you were 10. We were in our teens, me and Lou. So, we're not that far stretched apart.
He had a paper route.
Yeah.
I delivered the community life.
The community life, yeah.
So go ahead.
Wait, I graduated high school in 1979.
1979. Let It Ride.
Yeah. Well, it's. I think that it was such an interesting year because you had the bands from the 70s that were winding down. You had, Bad Company were coming near into an end. Led Zeppelin, they didn't know it was their last album, but you had a lot of those 70s dinosaur bands kind of like cooling down. And then you had the rise of punk was out and new wave was coming in. I hate that term, new wave, because new wave, it's like punk, I don't call it the Clash punk or new wave. I call them a rock band. Right. So you had bands like new kind of music. You had dinosaur rock next to new wave, and it was just an interesting year. So I'm just going to run down something I got. All right, ready? London Calling, Clash. Tusk from Fleetwood Mac. Highway to Hell, AC/DC.
Wait.
Well, Mark,
slow it down. London Calling. Come on, man. Let's talk about London Calling for a second.
Let's linger on this. Yeah, come on.
If we go through this, all right, I'll do it, but we may be on till like 2 a.m.
I know every single song. The Wrong and Boyo is one of my favorites, and Jimmy Jazz.
Yeah. What's your?
And they also had a song about Montgomery Clift after his car accident. Right, the right profile. That's Montgomery Clift, honey, because he smashed he busted up his face in a car accident, pretty bad.
And that's an album that only sounds good. And I argue all the time online about CDs are the best format. There's something about hearing that on a scratchy vinyl that just makes it really good. That and Sandinista, those two albums.
And what about the cover of London Calling? Wasn't that like an Elvis thing, Lou, with Paul Simonon with his? Wasn't it? It was like the same color scheme as that Elvis. That famous Elvis record, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I
think it was.
That was car radio stuff. I heard that on car radio driving to and fro from college.
Liking
it.
London Calling is one of the. It's a masterpiece of a record. Yeah. You can just leave it on and let it ride. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're kind of like the Jam in that I just hate reading that they're called punk. That wasn't punk. That was talent. That was good songwriting. That was like.
Wait, was Elvis Costello punk too? No.
Some critics call him punk. They say he came on in the punk
ass
time.
attitude, but
right. Is it the attitude, or is it like because Joe Strummer? I guess he was political. Mm-hmm. So does that mean he's a punk because he's political? I mean, they had a lot of pop songs. I mean, Mick Jones was like a pop guitar player.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pop riffs, right?
They also they heard a shit ton of reggae. I mean, there's a lot of ska and reggae and what they did. So they were considered a band, and they weren't. Say compared to the Beatles, say the Beatles, they wrote in many different genres and had stylistic things where the Clash weren't sophisticated about it at all. But neither one is going to say Mick Jones is the greatest guitar player alive, or none of them individually were the greatest musicians, but collectively is one of those things. Yeah. But that melting pot of styles, because England's like that, London's like that. There's the West Indian influences, African, it's just that kind of stuff. And
they
didn't
I love their dub.
Yeah.
I love their dub and dancehall influences. That's why Sandinista is 3 records. A lot of people say I can't listen to that. I can listen to that whole album. That's great.
Oh yeah, I had it. And will the real Mick Jones please step forward? Not the dude from Foreigner either. That's like Mark Smith. How many Mark Smiths do you think there are in the world? Come on, man.
Mark
remember
Elliott Smith.
Right after 9/11, they had that do not fly list of anyone that was a criminal could not fly. So how many Mark Smiths were there as criminals? I couldn't get on a plane. I almost missed a flight. It was like, come on. So, but yeah,
I got off an airplane in London.
Yeah.
So carry on with 1979.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so I'll start again. Tusk, Perry, we agree that's a great album. Fleetwood Mac.
Absolutely, yeah.
They were one of the bands in the 70s that should have been and I'm not saying because they weren't good. I'm just saying is like the 70s bands were winding down. They found whole new life in the 80s. God bless them. They kept going strong.
And I'm not embarrassed to say that I missed it. I knew it was there. I missed it.
Yeah.
I caught up with it 40 years later, but I'm glad I did.
Hey, I dropped out of music in the 90s, and granted, there was a lot of crap in the 90s, but now I'm like listening to the Lithium channel on Sirius XM, and it wasn't all bad. I just dropped out because I was in the business, and I just got burned out on music. I was like, Well,
so. like you said, 1979, I had London Calling. I didn't give a shit about Fleetwood Mac. But, as you get a little bit older, you're like, yeah, man, this is a great record, too.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room out there for all this stuff.
Exactly.
I didn't like the '80s sound of Fleetwood Mac, the glossy sound. I like some of the songs, but I just like that could be anybody on drums. That was Mick Fleetwood.
Yeah, he kind of admitted
so much for progress.
He at that time it was a business, and just keep making the records, and and they were going through turmoil. Lindsey Buckingham was the most reluctant member of the band in the '80s. He just wanted to do his own thing. Poor guy.
I had those Lindsey Buckingham solo records, the Bronze record. I had Go Insane. I had those records.
Yeah, good albums.
There's two kinds of people in this world.
Yeah,
two kinds of people.
Yep.
It's either us or them.
Winner.
Floyd influence. All right.
And also, the soundtrack for that Chevy Chase movie, right?
Holiday
Road. Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Every time I hear that, I think of the sandwich scene. Don't eat the sandwiches. The dog pissed on them. Okay. Highway to Hell, AC/DC. Last Bon Scott recording. The Wall. Yeah. To this day, The Wall's my favorite album of all time. So
of all time. Go on about that being your favorite Pink Floyd record.
Yeah. And
that was a troublesome record, apparently, from what I read within the band, right?
Put me in a deep, dark place when I was like 18, 19. I was playing it so much. I
was 18, 19 when that came out. I found it too depressing. I like some of the songs, but this sounds great, but there's just something about it. I can't. I like Pink Floyd. That was the Final Cut, the record after that.
And that's probably my second favorite album of all time.
Really well.
I like dark, but I like dark not metal-wise, just dark. I do.
Now the Wall, like he had, issues with Dave Gilmour, but this is the one where they brought Bob Ezrin in. Roger Waters brought in Bob Ezrin. Is that the one?
Yeah. And then there was a lot
produced the whole record.
Yes, and there were some extra musicians on there.
I didn't know that.
Rittenauer played on it.
Yeah.
Jazz dude? Yeah. Lee Rittenauer?
Yeah.
I don't know what he played, but he's on it. And then Jordan Rudess,
he's playing on the Wall. Is that him playing the guitar solo on the Wall?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. It could have been one note. They could have brought him in, but if you look at the liner notes, he's listed. And then Jordan Rudess, who is the keyboardist now with Dream Theater, he was like 18 years old. He played on that. So it's just, there was... It's the first time they brought in outside musicians, but they were breaking apart. It shows that friction can create a really good album, and that was a great album. But every song, I can understand, Lou, that song "Don't Leave Me Now." That probably is like a knife going in your ear when you hear it. To me, I love it. It's dissonance. It's like, So, and when Roger Waters toured a few years back behind it, that was like living a dream. I got to see it done again.
Cool.
All right, so.
What else in the great year of 1979?
Okay, Breakfast in America, Super Tramp.
Yeah,
I love that.
That was a big record.
Huge.
That's
everyone
the
I
one.
knew.
That's Don't You Look at My Girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was early morning yesterday. Goodbye, Stranger. All right, only one member of that band is American.
Whoa. There were a lot of big hits on that. Then,
Sorry,
right?
that's the train.
There was Breakfast in America.
Is there a train derailment?
No, that's the Firehouse. Yeah. I'm like a block away from the Firehouse.
Okay.
So there was Don't You Look at My Girlfriend.
This is real life as it happens, people.
Yes. Yeah. No editing. No editing, man.
No editing.
And what was the other song you just said from Breakfast in America, Lou?
Take the Long Way Home.
Goodbye, Stranger.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Stranger.
Yeah. Right.
There was like 3 hits right there.
Yeah, I think that was it. Give a little bit from an earlier album.
Was it?
Who was he? Who was the only non-Englishman? You don't have to name his name, but what did he play?
I have no idea.
The drummer was from California. They're
really?
only English. The drummer's an American. Yeah.
Fast Eddie.
No, I think Mark has an airstrike going on now.
Mark's getting straight.
Hey.
Get in the tub or something. Do something.
Hey.
Get out of there.
Let me tell you something. Pearl River, even on a Sunday night, it's a wild town.
I've been there. We've all been there. We've all been to Pearl River, my friend.
Yeah,
Pearl River, New York. Over the border of Jersey.
Most people that go there do not remember going there.
I remember I visited you in your old railroad apartment that burned.
Yeah, see, now if we were doing this from my old apartment, you'd be hearing the train. So, yeah, good thing.
So go ahead, 1979.
Yeah, so Unknown Pleasures, Joy Division. I was my daughter got me into Joy Division. I didn't even ever listen to them.
I like Joy Division, yeah. If you feel like getting depressed or something,
I'm ambivalent.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
I'm a happy guy. I like Sunshine Pop.
Well, didn't the singer killed himself, right?
I got his biography.
Ian Curtis, was that it?
Ian Curtis, yeah.
I think
on the eve of their North American tour.
Yeah. I got the biography. I think his wife wrote it, and they said it's a pretty hard read. So I've got it on my shelf. I'm going to read it one of these days. May not want to read it. So, all right. Off the Wall, Michael Jackson, my favorite Michael Jackson album.
It's a good record.
Yeah.
Is that also Quincy Jones produced? Probably.
Believe
Q.
Yes.
Yeah, the Q. The evil Q.
That's why it was so good.
Not the government guy.
Yeah, I was never a big Michael Jackson fan, but I know that was a great record.
Don't stop till you get it.
That was when he first really became a superstar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a superstar record.
Oh, that was a dumb statement of mine. He was a superstar when he was with the Jackson 5.
But a separate...
Did I really
solo.
say that, guys? Come on.
Calm down there, bucko. Calm down there. No, it had real drums on it. They have a song
called I Want You Back. They have a song called I Want You Back. Have you ever heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sing it.
That was his first solo smash.
Yeah.
So Off the Wall. What was Off the Wall?
Don't Stop.
There?
That was the big hit. Don't Stop.
Want to rock with
How
you?
does that?
Yeah, I want to rock with you all night.
No, that was a big hit. Yeah, that was a big hit. Yeah.
And Don't Stop Till You Get It was a big hit then.
That was huge. It had the lasers in the video. Remember the lasers like that the Who used with Roger Daltrey? The lasers were coming from behind him. It was a great video. And the song Off the Wall was kind of a minor hit. I heard that back in the early 80s, and I was like, this is a great bass line. So, so there's that. And then Damn the Torpedoes.
That's the first non-rock record we've spoken about. So that's an R&B.
Oh, leave it to me. I'll bring up a lot of non-rock if you like.
Yeah, that was on the R&B charts. You're right.
Yeah.
He was not the king of pop.
Yeah.
The self-proclaimed king of pop, by the way.
It was a true R&B album. Yeah. It
was before the alterations too on his appearance and everything else.
Yeah, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
No. I mean, there's no point. It's it was what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Damn the Torpedoes came out that year.
Oh boy, hold on. Yeah, that was that Sound City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome
That's
album.
a biggie.
Yeah.
I learned to play drums to that record.
Really?
What a great... by the way,
yeah.
Stan Lynch, great drummer.
He's playing with Mike Campbell now. He's playing with Mike Campbell and the Dirty...
You're really... The Dirty Knobs.
The Dirty Knobs. I don't know if it's the Dirty Knobs. I think it's just something else besides that, but they've been doing a lot of shows together.
Very cool, yeah. He was one of my favorite drummers.
Yeah, me too. When I saw the Damn the Torpedoes documentary, and Jimmy Iovine was saying like he didn't think he worked with the band. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, you got to respect the guy's credentials and his ears, but I mean, one of the first things I noticed with that band was the drummer. I mean, and not just being one, but I mean, he drove that band along, and not only singing all those higher harmonies as well. But Jimmy Iovine saying he didn't think Stan Lynch worked well with Petty's vocals, but they brought in all these hot shot. Bernard Purdy probably made some sessions with the Torpedoes, and none of them could do it.
No way.
No, I'm saying why not?
Way.
But they brought in some heavy hitters. They didn't name names, but they brought in some heavy hitters of the time to bring in and play on Damn the Torpedoes, and they couldn't do it. So they brought Lynch back.
Who was producing? Jimmy Iovine, right?
Jimmy Iovine, yeah.
And Stan Lynch. I saw some behind the scenes footage of that when they were in the studio, and Stan Lynch, Jimmy Iovine was saying, maybe you ought to do this, and Stan Lynch told him, you know what, stay behind the glass. That's where you belong.
Well, I think he had a reputation for threatening people too. So when Stan Lynch joined the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty goes, "You can't threaten anybody. You can play with it. You can't threaten anybody." He's a hothead.
But I heard Stan Lynch was very stubborn in the studio. It was his way.
Very stubborn.
Yeah.
And now he's a very well known songwriter and producer though in Nashville. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of writing for other people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, now the fire engines are coming. You hear that? I hope they don't stop in front of my house.
Yeah, really.
I'll be getting off quick. All right.
So, what else you have for 1979?
Oh my God. Anyway, Into the Outdoor, Led Zeppelin. My personal favorite Zeppelin album. Probably 90% of fans would disagree, but it was their most original.
I have no idea what's even on the record. Can you tell me?
All of My Love.
All of My Love. That's a good song.
And dun, dun,
Pool in the Rain.
Thank you.
Pool in the Rain.
Which we talked about on another show. If you isolate Bonham's drum track on that, what a
and I don't like the guitar sound
finesse.
on. I don't like the guitar sound on that song. That's just me.
I love it. And Hot Dog's on it.
Now here, there's a thing. I love that song, Hot Dog, right?
Yeah.
If this guy Albert Lee, who's the guy? Who's the
Albert Lee?
Arthur,
you know
Alvin,
who I mean,
Albert.
right? The guy, he lives in Nashville now, and he's a real guitar, like a real picker, chicken picker.
Alvin Lee, right? No.
Well, who's the guy? Who was the guy? Who's the guy from 10 years after?
Alvin Lee's 10 years after.
Alvin
Lee
Lee's
is the British guy that played with Eric Clapton.
He was the guy that was at Woodstock.
Arthur Lee's dead, so it can't be him.
He was so coked up, they were playing that song, Go Home, Babe. I'm going home, babe. I'm going like 100 miles an hour. But Albert Lee is the guy I'm talking about, right?
Yep. And
if he had played the guitar on Hot Dog, it would have been so much better because Page was just great song that he wrote, but it was just sloppy.
He was sloppy.
And Page was so strung out, and I have bootlegs from that last tour. They did like warm-up shows in Europe. It's dreadful. It's tough to listen to. But they did do that one Nebworth show that was on the radio. They were on fire for that show, but some of the other shows, Page is just totally out of it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And so that In Through the Outdoor was 1979.
Yep, that was 1979. Didn't know it would be their last album, but it was. So let's see what we got here.
I like that record. That's the only Led Zeppelin record I ever owned.
I love it because it's got a lot of keyboards. I love keyboards.
It was described as mellowed but powerful. But still powerful.
Also, some critics say if they had stayed together, it was like the launching pad for Robert Plant's solo career, and they're kind of right in a way. It was that more pop sound which Robert Plant explored. So
I like that sound, by the way.
Yeah,
I
love Robert Plant. I love his
first solo albums. I said, "Wow, this is really, really good."
Yeah.
So, okay, here this for you, Lou.
Oh,
Van Halen 2 came out in '79.
Yep.
There you go.
With the great pop song, "Dancing That Away."
I love that song.
Great pop song. Great
pop
song.
Van Halen 2. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that song off that album that they found a kid in a garbage can, Dead or Alive, DOA. I love that song.
Oh my God! Wow.
That's that song, right?
Yeah. That's heavy. That's been a long time. Wow.
That was a punky album.
They never really gave a shit. That's kind of cool, though. You know what I mean? Like they did not take themselves too seriously.
No,
ever.
No. Awesome talent, and they didn't take themselves seriously, but they still played talented. That was. And
Alex Van Halen will probably never get his due.
No,
that's one of the better hard rock drummers. Not a heavy metal, but one of the better hard rock drummers.
Yeah.
Hot for Teacher. It's a stupid song, kind of, but that's hard rock, almost hard rock, big band, heavy metal drumming. It's very unique.
Wasn't there a song that Alex Van Halen really just took from the drummer from ZZ Top?
Hot for Teacher. You're thinking Hot for Teacher.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He took that thing right from ZZ Top.
Yeah, I would say so. He took it from ZZ Top, but he added some jazz on. He put some jazz in it. So
I just never thought he was that good of a drummer, man. I just never thought so.
I think because what he had to do, he had to create he wrote his crash cymbals like Ringo did to create that this wash.
Yeah.
On some of those songs, he's a lot more finesse. On the last album, what's the one song? Oh, she's got rhythm of the road. On the last album, I can't think of the song.
Diver Down.
No, it wasn't. No, the last album was 1984, but one of the songs on there, a couple of songs, like his drumming is very different than what you might have heard before.
That song, She's Got That Rhythm, that was from Diver Down. I can't remember the name of it, though.
Oh, no, you're right. That's from Diver Down,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So do they have a lot of stuff in the can that hasn't been released yet that they can that they'll be releasing in the future little by little?
I don't think they have finished stuff. I think that Eddie and Alex, they jammed constantly. There's hours and hours, I think, of jamming, and it was just Eddie and Alex. And
well, there's somebody who can tighten that stuff up.
Well,
right?
the thing is, like, it would be Wolfie if anybody, but I don't know, like, if
and
it's
Alex
worth.
too, probably.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to want to release it. Maybe it's just...
And there's a whole bunch of stuff with Gary Sharon that nobody wants to hear.
Hey, all right.
The whole album, really, right?
It was unlistenable. I'm sorry.
Mark, I got to say, I liked it. You know why I liked it? I saw it as...
You're a rare breed, mister.
Jeez, that's like getting Adam Levine to lead, be the lead singer of...
It should have been an Eddie Van Halen solo album. That would have been accepted a little more, because it was too dark for Van Halen. It was just...
okay.
But it was just Eddie was like going off the deep end with different ideas. It wasn't a Van Halen album, but I liked it. All
right, so 1979, because there were a lot of records you're talking about. There were also a lot of hit songs on the radio in '79, right?
A lot of singles too. I mean, But Mark, keep going. Yeah.
Rust never sleeps. Rust never sleeps. Here's a good one.
This is live or is this a studio record? Rust Never Sleeps.
Live.
That's live.
Yeah. Fear of Music, the Talking Heads, my personal favorite Talking Heads album.
What's on that one? There's water at the bottom of the ocean. It's Life During
Wartime. I'm pretty sure it's
Life During Wartime.
Life During Wartime?
Yeah.
But
that's good.
Yeah.
Adrian Belews on that album. It's
really
very funky. Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Brian Eno produced it. And it's got a lot of African influences on it. If you have it, it's a very
he's a producer
album.
who does he produces a lot of world music now. David Byrne.
Yeah. David Byrne's a talent, man.
What else you have from? I can't think of the Roman numerals for 1979. Can you?
Regatta de Blanc came out.
Nice.
Okay, what's on that one? What annoying song is on that one?
Oh, I love the Police. I do. I've come around to like there's no one else like them. So that'd be 1979. Walking on the Moon.
Walking on the Moon. In a second.
I love the bass. I love the bass on that song. That's a great song. That's a great song. Yeah. All right.
It's quite reggae.
It's got Message in a Bottle.
Message in a Bottle. That's a great one. Stuart Copeland.
Well, that's one it's like Stairway to Heaven. I don't need to hear that, or like Imagine by John Lennon. I don't need to hear that shit anymore.
You got to admit, Stuart Copeland is a great drummer.
Absolutely.
I think. I don't know.
He's a good drummer. Yeah, he's a student of drums and a teacher apparently too.
I think Stuart Copeland could be in any fusion band, including Return of Forever. I think he's just a fantastic drummer.
Yeah. We can live forever, walking on the moon.
Yep.
What else is on that record other than?
Oh wait, Sting's lawyer just knocked on. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, we gotta stop.
We're gonna kick that door in.
Yeah, okay. Candio. They've said it many times. My favorite.
Okay.
Cars album.
Cars. What's on Candio other than Candio? I need you so.
Let's go.
Yep. They were a great pop band. The Cars.
They were
a great friggin' pop band.
Now, if you could pick one old time influence on Rick Ocasek from the old rock and roll days, who do you think he was mostly influenced by?
Richie Blackmore, because of the wig.
Get out of here!
Don't pick on my Richie. Come on.
I can't make your picture go away. Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Yep. His vocal, that hiccupy vocal.
You can hear it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And you can't go wrong with Buddy Holly.
Right.
So what else is on Candio?
Dangerous Type. Night Spots.
That's a great song. Mark, is that a Ben Orr? That's another Ben Orr vocal?
Dangerous Type? No. Oh, jeez. You got to understand, for me, Candio is, I don't think of the song titles. That album, it flows. It's like one long song to me. So I just put it on and let it go.
Okay. Which record has Since You're Gone?
That was Shake It Up.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone likes the first Cars album, and I've gotten into debates. Oh, it's the best. The problem with me with the first Cars album, it was just played out. I'm not crazy. And Circuit City made me hate. What was the song that Circuit City used? You're Just What I Needed. Yeah, when they started using it, I was like,
I had all of them. I even had Candio.
Yeah. And, that album was seen as not a failure, but the record company was a little miffed because it didn't sell as much as the first one. But I loved it.
Well,
really? They had a second record slump?
Yeah.
Second album slump?
Damn good
That's
slump.
a classic curse in rock and roll, apparently, the second album slump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we should do a segment on the second album, Slump.
Yeah. Well, the only problem with that album...
I'll write that down because we will forget. What's that?
Lou, the only problem I have with that album is, you name it, the producer. Roy Thomas Baker
and his
Eggs on the Wall sound on the drums. You can't get rid of distortion when you remaster, I'll tell you.
No.
All right.
Yeah, and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I'm good.
Okay. There's a couple R&B albums that I really liked that came out those years. I Am by Earth, Wind and Fire. Bad Girls by Donna Summer. I actually had that album. Lodger from David Bowie came out.
What songs are on Lodger? I saw something about that recently. Not being...
So was disco still happening in 79?
Yeah, so 79... There
was still disco?
The end of Dinosaur
Rock was taking some of his property back in 1979 in a big way. That's why I think a lot of us were... Disco was something in later years, I'm like, there's some really good shit in disco. I mean, try not to tap your foot to a Disco Inferno by Tramps. Well,
I mean,
it might be a guilty pleasure, but if you don't tap your foot to, you should.
Yeah, but you in particular probably roller skated to some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, well, we had a roller skating rink, and I went to the New York premiere of Roller Boogie with Linda Blair. That's how highfalutin that was.
Yeah,
I was at your skating rink, Lou. I fell on my ass. I could not skate.
I met someone at the guitar bar, Asheville Guitar Bar in North Carolina. I'm playing with this guy. He's a singer. And I thought he's from Florida. He goes, where are you from? I said, New Jersey. He goes, where? I said, Bergen County, Parker's Westwood. He goes, I'm from Glen Rock. I said, my friend Dan Page, my good friend's from Glen Rock. He goes, Ernie's brother. And we did, boom. So, yeah, that's how that works.
It's a small world after all.
Yeah. So,
my favorite ride at Disneyland, by the way.
But in 1979, rock was reclaiming its thing from disco.
Yeah.
It was, disco and remember Rock is Dead, Disco Sucks, Cisco Ducks, bumper stickers.
There were a lot of Disco Sucks T-shirts and events at like sporting baseball games and football. Disco Sucks and the DJ, right? Disco Duck.
Rick Dees.
Yeah.
Disco.
I felt vindicated because I was always a closet Bee Gees fan, and
me too. I love him.
I remember seeing a documentary on Alice Cooper, and he, Alice Cooper with his big, what he was doing, this devil and all this stuff, and he goes, "I love the Bee Gees, but I couldn't tell anybody. I just had to put the headphones on, and listen to it, and I was like, yeah, it's good."
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Alice Cooper
tapping your foot around the corner.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper always went to bat for Donovan to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Really?
Wow.
Always stood up for Donovan. Wow. He sang on $1 Billion Babies, Donovan.
That's right. He had a featured part. We'll go dancing nightly.
Yep.
That's so cool. Wow. Donovan's great, though. Yeah.
Speaking of disco,
I like in particular that song because they switch parts. Switch parts. What else you got, Mark?
Well, speaking of disco, as it was going out, Jeff Lynne decides to do a disco album. So Discovery came out by ELO. I like the album, but it was disco.
That's a disco. What's on there that can be considered a disco record?
Shine a Little Love.
Shine Low.
Yeah, that really sounds like a Bee Gees song.
Also, it has their only hit that did not have an orchestra on it. It's just a rock and roll song. It's a big.
Let me guess. Me down.
Don't bring me down. It does not have an orchestra on it.
Yeah. But he also had that song when he was in The Move.
No, that was Do Ya.
That was who?
Do you want my love? Two great versions. But now, when did ELO do Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John?
All right, that's another guilty pleasure. I got that vinyl. It's got the greatest Olivia Newton-John song, Magic. That's a great song. That was 82 or 83.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a good.
What was the name? Was the ELO album Discovery? Does that have All Over the World?
No, that came out, I believe, maybe the next album, 1980 or 81.
That's one of my favorite ELO songs.
It's a good song. Yeah.
Yeah. I love ELO.